All right, what's up, everybody? This is Paul Duncan, Army National Guard recruiter. It's been a while since I've done just kind of a random post of me talking about anything National Guard or recruiting related. So I'm just going to kind of go over the basic topic of, one of the questions that I always get is, should I join the Army Reserve, active duty, or the Army National Guard? And obviously I'm a little bit biased for the National Guard, but I just want to give you a couple reasons why I think that the National Guard is a better option for not everybody, but most people. All right. So first of all, let's just kind of go over what the difference is between the National Guard and, say, the Army Reserve. All right. Those two are pretty close together in terms of commitment. So the similarities between the two, between the Army Reserve and the Army National Guard, are the fact that both branches have the same commitment. Okay. Both branches, after basic training and after advanced individual training, where you learn your job skill, the commitment is the same. So the minimum commitment for both of those branches is to serve 1 weekend per month and a 2-week training period each summertime. That is called annual training. So annual training is the 15 days in the summer. The 2 days a month is called drill. So whether you serve in the Army National Guard or in the Army Reserves, the commitment is going to be exactly the same. Now let's talk about the differences. So the main difference between the Army National Guard and the Army Reserve is the fact of the Army Reserve only has one mission, and that is to serve for the President of the United States, or the federal government. So the federal government mission is typically to go overseas and fight in America's conflict, whatever that may be at the time, right? So when you think about that, typically that's going overseas and fighting, okay? So think about the National Guard. The National Guard is the only component of any branch of the military that has a dual mission. So one of those missions is to be able to assist the Army, the regular Army or the Army Reserves, when the federal government needs them. So we do have the ability to go overseas and help in America's conflict, okay? We do have that ability. That possibility is there. But our primary mission is to be able to answer to the orders of our state's governor. So I'm a recruiter with the Nevada Army National Guard. So what do? We answer to the orders of our governor. So what might that mean in terms of a state mission? In most cases, that's some sort of a natural disaster. So what are some examples of natural disasters? That might be a flood, a hurricane, a wildfire, assisting in the COVID relief effort that's going on. All of those things can be considered natural disasters and would typically fall under the state government. So those are things that the National Guard can get called up to do, as well as being able to serve with the active duty, okay? So since we have a dual mission, we're the only component with the dual mission, we're also the only component that collects both government benefits. So all the benefits that the Army Reserve gets, when I'm talking about benefits, I'm talking about college, education benefits, medical benefits, all of those benefits, we get all of those benefits. But at the same time, we also collect state benefits. So the federal benefits, outside of the normal benefits that you already know about, which are medical benefits, life insurance, healthcare, dental, all that stuff, the National Guard has all that as well. And it's the federal version of that, the same thing that the reserves get, okay? The reserves get the Montgomery GI Bill, okay? So that's a federal benefit. So anybody serving in the military part-time gets the GI Bill. So what that is that's a check that the federal government will write to your college to help with your college tuition. But typically, the college tuition is not going to be 100% covered by the GI Bill, because the GI Bill is not enough depending on which college you go to. But if you serve in the Nevada Army National Guard, our state benefit is 100% of our tuition is waived. What does that mean? That means college costs $0, okay? College is $0 if you're in the National Guard in Nevada. So if you want to go to UNLV, CSN, University of Nevada, Reno, all of those colleges are 100% waived for any member serving in the National Guard. And on top of that, you still get that federal check that the government writes any student who is serving in the military. Okay, so we have people serving in the National Guard locally here in Las Vegas that they go to college full time, they have their college tuition and books waived, and then on top of that, they're making somewhere between $700 and $1,000 depending on which benefits that they got. All right, so think about this. The big difference here is, one is the mission. They don't do any community service type domestic missions, the reserves that is, okay? And then two, they don't get that 100% state tuition waiver. So what does that mean is, even though they get that GI Bill, that's just helping with the college tuition, but it's not covering it 100%. If you're in the National Guard, that's the big difference, that 100% tuition waiver. On top of that, you get all the extra money, the drill pay, the GI Bill, everything else that's included from being in a reserve component, you also get. So with knowing that information and knowing that you are somebody who aspires to be a college student and you want to go to college, and this is all the way up through a master's degree for that tuition waiver, mind you, okay? For somebody who wants to go to college full time, if you know the difference between the Army Reserves and the Army National Guard, doesn't it kind of seem like a no-brainer? Why would you join the Army Reserves? I don't really see any upside to joining the Army Reserves versus the Army National Guard. Now, if you do see an upside in the Army Reserves versus the Army National Guard, then please, in the comments, go ahead and tell me, because I've been doing this for a really long time and I see zero upside in being in the Army Reserves versus the Army National Guard. Now, if we're talking about active duty versus Army National Guard, that's a little bit different of a story, okay? Now, if you're active duty, of course, you have a full-time job ahead of you. But the problem with going active duty is you really better hope that you enjoy the job that you sign up for, because if you don't enjoy that job, when you go active duty, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna be stationed on an active duty post somewhere around the world, and it doesn't matter where you want to go, it matters where the federal government wants you to go. You're going to go there for 3 to 4 years, however long your contract is, and you're going to serve in whatever job you signed up for, and you're going to do that job 10 or 8, 10, 12 hours a day on whatever schedule the Army wants you to do that on. So hopefully you love that job, but the problem is, how do you know if you actually love that job unless you've done that job before? The only way you're going to know is if you actually sign up for it. So why not sign up part-time first, feel it out, join a branch like the National Guard or the Reserves, but we just talked about why the National Guard is better than the Reserves. Just join a random job in the National Guard and just figure out if the military lifestyle might even be for you. Okay? Go in the National Guard part-time, get your degree, and then make a decision on if you want to ever be active duty or not. And the reality of it is once you get back from basic training and advanced individual training, the reality is you do have some choices. You have choices on which route you want to take. Your first choice, if you're in the National Guard, is you can either, let's talk about if you're active duty. When you get done with basic training and AIT, you have one choice, and that's to go wherever the federal government wants you to go for the next 4 years. That's your only choice, okay? But let's talk about your choices if you join the National Guard. You have a lot more choices. And for me, I don't know about you, but I am all about having choices. Why limit yourself when you can have choices? So think about this. If you're in the National Guard and you go to basic training and AIT, you know that if you joined here in Las Vegas, you're gonna come right back to Las Vegas. And your commitment is gonna be serving 1 weekend per month and 2 weeks in the summertime in that job role. So let's say you pick a job that you decide that you don't really like that much. Okay, well, good thing you didn't go active duty, because at least you don't have to serve every single day in that job, in a job that you hate. Why would you serve in a job that you hate in 2021, right? So that's just something to think about. And if you if you don't like the job, at least you're only doing it 1 weekend a month, and you can go to college full time in whatever career field that you choose to go into. Okay, your career field that you go into with the National Guard does not have to sync up with the degree plan that you go into. All right, so the moral of the story is here, why would you limit your options when you don't have to? Why not start with the National Guard, feel it out, see if the military is even right for you. If it is right for you, you can get a conditional release and go into the active duty. I'm not saying that's not a process, but it is possible for you to do that. You're not stuck with the National Guard your whole contract if you want to go active duty. But the flip side is not true. If you go active duty and you decide you don't want to serve that 4 years, you can't go backwards and serve part-time with the National Guard. That is not a possibility that you can pick. So yeah, this turned into a little bit of a rambling session, and that's kind of what it was intended to be. But that's just kind of my 2 cents. I know that I'm biased about the National Guard, but if you just look at me as an example, to be quite honest, I've never really been someone that I feel fits into the military lifestyle per se, right? I do love the military and I do love being part of the Army, but it's not something where I would want to be active duty on a base every day of my life. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the people who want to do that. I think it's a great thing and I appreciate what you're doing. But for me, that's not one of them. I am the type of person who wants choices, right? And even though I'm active duty with the National Guard right now, I still get to live the life that I want to live on a day-to-day basis. And to me, that's very, very important, okay? I get to live every single day, even though I'm active duty, the life that I feel like I want to live. And I'm not restricted in where I want to be. I could move if I wanted to. I could do an interstate transfer if I wanted to, right? Now, let's say you're part-time with the National Guard. You only have to serve those 2 days per month. The other 28 days out of the month, you're allowed to do whatever you want. As long as you're staying out of trouble, not doing drugs, not getting in any kind of conflicts or anything like that. As long as you're showing up to drill and doing what's expected of you with your part-time commitment, we don't care what you do. We hope that you're furthering yourself and going to college or doing something that's advancing you in your life. But ultimately, you have choices that you get to make. And those choices are, you can go to college full-time, you can apply for a full-time job with the National Guard within your state, or you could always go active duty too if you want to do that. So those are my 2 cents. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you made it this far in the video. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. It means a lot if you do that. In the comments, let me know any questions that you have. I'll try to make a video answering your questions, especially if I haven't answered them before. That's just my 2 cents. Let me know. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you have a different point of view. I'd love to hear it. Answer in the comments. Again, my name's Paul Duncan. If you're in the state of Nevada and you want to learn more about serving in the National Guard, I am a recruiter in the Henderson and Las Vegas area. You can always reach me. The best way to reach me is to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Paul Duncan Jr. So at PAULDUNCAN JR. That's my Instagram handle. You can just add me there and shoot me a direct message. I pretty much check that every day. You can also shoot me a text message at 702-460-7061. If you try to call me, the chances of me answering the phone are pretty low because I'm usually in the middle of doing something or I have my phone put away. But if you text me, I will always get back to your text within 24 hours, okay? I will talk to you soon. Later.